All right, guys, welcome back to Talkin with the Boro Boys, episode 5. My name is Andrew Franz. I'm joined with Carson Shelton, Connor Ballou. Mexico Open had an interesting finish on Sunday. Brian Campbell came into it late in the round, tied Aldrich Pottinger. I can't pronounce that name. Went to a two-hole playoff, came out on top, was a Corn Ferry Tour guy for forever. Got his tour card, got him till through 2027. Got a Masters invite. Just great to see that happen. Guy who's been battling for a tour card for years. Finally get to see him get it. Coming in second place seems to have a commonality coming through 2 weeks in. Mav withdrawn from the Mexico Open, and now Aldrich withdrawn from the Honda Classic. Is that something we're going to continue to see with these second place guys? Are they going to continue to withdraw from the next event, or is it just something that they want to get that sour taste out of their mouth? Carson, what do you think about that?
I think especially with these younger guys, it's reasonable. Aldrich had that lead pretty much all tournament, and then coming down to the wire and losing the way he did is rough. I assume it's really tough on him and his family, but I don't think it's going to be, keep passing along between guys. I just think, it's a coincidence that both these guys did it, but the way he lost was really tough, and I'd probably do the same thing. That ball that he hit was going 20 yards OB. Somehow got a lucky kick and, got himself in. And he had a good lie and, he took advantage of that lucky break and ended up making birdie. And Pottinger, I mean, 206 yards away, hitting 7-iron, just barely didn't cover that bunker. And it's a rough up and down, especially under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, you think if he took one more club, we'd be seeing a different outcome probably. He'd probably have a win. He'd be the one making 1.2 instead of just under 8. I mean, that's still great money going from first to second, but there's nothing really you can do there. I mean, that tree saved Campbell. I mean, like you said, if it didn't hit that tree, it would have been 20 yards OB. He would have been dropping, hitting his third
It'd
shot.
be
I
nice
don't
if
I
he
don't know
won.
how it like bottled between all those trees and came back out.
It'd
I
be
don't know
nice if
how.
the average golfer would get that break, but
No.
Yeah.
when we go over there, it goes 20 yards OB.
Oh, yeah.
But Campbell, he showed some resilience going down the stretch because he was losing the whole last day. And for him to get his first win like that, and I know it was a smaller tournament, but it was an impressive fashion. Pot Guider, he was struggling on that approach shot on the par 5. I think he went in the bunker in both playoff holes, which was just a little pot bunker right in front of the green. So it was impressive, and Campbell to get the Masters exemption, I'm sure, has got to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously never played in that, and he's never had his card, been on the Corn Ferry. So, but it'll be interesting to see how if we keep hearing the name Pot Guider going around into the majors and throughout the PGA season, because I think he's only 20 years old.
I think he's 20 or 21, so I mean, he's a younger guy.
Yeah.
I don't think this second place loss is going to do much to him. I think he'll probably take the week off, get his mind right, and he'll be back in a week or so. And I mean, we might see him make a run, win something down the road. I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem for him, but it's golf. You never know what's going to happen. Just like every other sport, you never know what's going to happen. You never know if you're going to go in shoot 10 under or go in shoot even. I mean, both these guys on Sunday, Campbell was 1 under and Polygider was even. I mean, after going 20 under the previous 2 days or 3 days, it's not something you really expect to see the leaders be even on Sunday.
How about
Yeah,
Joel Dahmen?
Potter's only 20.
17 under.
Potter's only 20. All he really known is winning, all through junior golf and Corn Ferry Tour. But yeah, that last hole of regulation and then the 2 playoff holes, he didn't have one good approach shot into that green. I know the final hole, he went in the bunker, and then the first playoff hole, he went way left. And the final one, he went in the bunker. But it's got to be stressful for these younger guys contending for a win under the age of 21, all that pressure on them. It's got to be rough.
Yeah, I'd say an emotional toll too, carrying over especially 2 playoff holes. So honestly, it's not surprising. But how about Joel Dahmen coming in T6, 17 under, Akshay Bhatia at ninth at 15 under?
Yeah, I feel like
I think
Akshay.
that's good.
Potter's like leading the tour in driving distance and second in strokes gained off the tee. So
Yeah, that's
he'll
what
be
I saw.
just fine.
He was beating out Rory So, I mean, that's not something you expect.
Pretty
Rory's
impressive.
been the driving machine for year after year. So, for him to be leading that,
Especially
it's pretty
for a
special.
20-year-old.
Yeah.
Akshay, I feel like, is someone that we expected to probably do a little bit better, maybe been a top 5 guy. I mean, top 10 is still great, but I feel like everyone was expecting him to come in and somewhat dominate a weaker field, and it just didn't happen. I mean, overall, it was pretty consistent, 5 under, and 4 under. So it's not bad golf whatsoever. It's just I don't think it's what anyone expected.
Yeah, announcers saying he was tired, kind of burnt out of it. He withdrew from this week. Sometimes you just need that break, and
Yeah,
he'll take this break, and he'll get back into shape.
yeah. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I feel like you look at all the top 10 guys in the world. I feel like they're not playing every week. They're playing in the bigger tournaments, but they're taking time off to be with their families, to practice, and to just get better. Not play week after week after week until they've gotten into the season, and you're going down the stretch where it's players and masters and the majors back to back. I feel like that's the only time you're seeing those top 10 guys in the world playing in every event. So actually taking a little bit of time off, I think, would be good for him. I think he's gonna be able to relax, hang out with his wife or his girlfriend, and he'll come back in 2 weeks and probably be another top 10. I mean, that's the kind of golfer he is.
Yeah, and we got the Arnold Palmer, not this weekend, but next weekend, I believe, which will be
Yeah.
a bigger tournament. All the guys will be
Yeah.
there, so I'm sure guys will get ready for that. And then 2 weeks after that, the Players, and then right around the corner will be the Masters. So it'll be a good run here.
Yeah, the good stretch of golf is coming. Definitely going to be excited for it. Coming to the East Coast now with the Cognizant Classic at the Palm Beaches. I think it's going to be, I mean, it used to be the Hondas. I feel like it's been a tournament that there's been some fireworks to, especially going into the Arnold Palmer at Bay Hill. So I think it's be a good week. Not many top guys playing in it, but there are a couple guys that we can be looking out for. Luke Clanton's going to be fighting for his tour card. I definitely think he's going to get it. I don't see him missing this cut after barely missing it out in Phoenix at the Waste Management. I definitely think he's going to go get it, and we're going to see him play golf for the rest of our lives almost, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he's going to
because
do well this week. He's coming off a college win, I think last weekend. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to do good. I think he's going to pummel the ball like always. And I think he's going to find himself in that winner's circle this week.
That's what you were telling us earlier. You got a strong feeling that he's gonna get another win this week, but at a tour level, pro level, rather than collegiate. So
Yeah,
we'll see how that
that'd be
turns
awesome
out.
to see Luke get it done. He deserves
seriously.
it. I'm sure he's
Yeah.
still eating himself up about that missed putt.
I think he's pissed about how that all went down. He's going to come out with a fire under his belt.
I mean, I would say that he did that in his college tournament. I mean, he went out and he got the job done. I mean, but you got to think about it. He's one of the best college golfers, but he's not winning every week. So I definitely think that missed putt was a little bit of a boost into him going out and winning at the college level this past week. I think it's going to propel him into this week. I do like your pick. I don't see him actually winning, but I could definitely see him being in the top 10, top 5, and making that cut, getting his tour card. That's going to be exciting to watch. I got hometown hero for us. I got Alex Smalley going out and getting it. I got Smalley going out and getting it. He was playing good out in Phoenix. I think he's gonna get it done this week. It would be a hometown guy for us going at
Shout out to the
Sedgefield.
Devils.
Go Devils. Yeah.
Duke guy for these two yahoos. Connor, what are you thinking?
Yeah, that's a good pick, both of you. I'm gonna pick Mr. Consistency and stick with Russell Henley here.
Okay.
Russell is a consistent guy. He always seems to be in the running for every tournament. Coming down the stretch, the iconic Bear stretch, 15 through 17 with all the water, with those par threes. I'm gonna pick a guy who's seems to always be consistent in what he does. I'm gonna pick Russell Henley. Saw a lot of people were picking Shane Lowry. He's the betting favorite this week, but I'm gonna go with the American Russell Henley.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got a nice consistency here going all Americans. Lucas Glover might be another guy to look out for this week. I mean, he's got 2 wins in the past 2 seasons, so be cool to see him. I think we'd all love to see Ricky do well. I think everyone loves Ricky. I don't think there's a single person that hates him. I mean, there could be, but I personally don't think so.
Yeah, Ricky struggled for a good while now, so it'd be good to see him get back in the running. Sepp Straka, I believe he's in it.
Yeah, he is.
He got hot to start the year, so see if he can continue that. Minwoo, got Spieth in there.
Who's a guy that he's going to win soon, and I think everyone knows it. He's a great golfer. His swing's great. He generates a lot of power in that swing too.
Yeah.
I'm expecting him to get a win here soon. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think so. Sung J M, he's also in it. That guy, you never can count him out, especially on those irons. Those irons and those par threes.
Yeah, we got Cam Young in it as well. I mean, I think there's good. I think it's gonna be a good tournament. PGA National, great course down in Florida. Excited for it. I don't think
I
there's
saw a
gonna be.
statistic that said I want to say the past like 4 or 5 winners have been top 5 in the field in approach to green. It's a big course when it comes to your approach shot, and driving the ball is important. But I saw that approach shots important and putting it on the green in the right spot because the greens are tricky. So I'm gonna pick with Russell Henley, but see Smalley and Clanton up there would be great.
Yeah.
Interesting to see how many victims that bear trap's going to get.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with the realm of YouTube golf, we're able to see these courses a lot more often. I mean, you can see, I think the Bryan brothers were out there a couple weeks ago, and they posted a video about it last week
were
or
they
something.
really?
Yeah, I believe they
YouTube
were.
video?
I think so. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think they were out there not too long ago playing.
You'd like to think that that stretch, 15 through 17, even 18, is going to hold some victims, especially down the stretch.
Especially on
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
If there's any wind too,
Yeah, if there's wind, I mean, it's Florida, so I mean, it could be raining in the middle of the afternoon for a little bit, and
Yeah.
ball's gonna not fly as well. Ground's gonna get wet. Greens gonna be a little bit slower, gonna roll a little bit different. But I definitely think with the realm of YouTube golf that people are able to see the golf courses a little bit more often. At least if you're watching the Bryan brothers, the guys that are able to go out and play these courses and play them decent. I mean, not to tour level, but still good enough where it's like, oh, we know what we're going to be seeing. I feel like it brings a little bit more of excitement to the tournament because people are seeing the courses. They know that the bear trap is going to be a problem this week, and that we might see a bunch of water balls, and we might see someone shoot really well and go low. I mean, I think it's expanding.
I would
You can see
agree
these
with that.
courses.
Also, I don't know if do you know if they played where the seats were set up and the bleachers and all that?
I'm not sure if they
You don't
did,
know?
but
Okay, because I think that adds a whole nother element to seeing a golf course too. Because as we know, like when you see one on TV with all the stands, it looks more as a tournament type. But when you go play a course with nothing there and it's just the course, nothing set up, it's so much different. So, like you said, that element of seeing guys YouTube show off these courses and showcase them, it puts a different perspective, I think, into people. And obviously, you get to see up close. You get to hear them talking about it shot to shot, which YouTube golf, I think, has been great, especially for the younger generation to see and witness all these good courses. It'd be nice to see someone try and get out on Augusta, but that ain't gonna happen.
that's not going to happen. I mean, maybe we'll get lucky and we might see like a Bryson DeChambeau like practice round, but I doubt that'll
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Augusta's very strict with that. But
How about Bryson and Saquon? I'm waiting on that.
yeah, that'll be cool to see.
That should be in the works here.
Yeah, I mean, he reached out to him. I definitely would love to see that. Saquon,
Saquon say he needs to get better though.
he said
We'll
he
get
said
that
if he
later.
doesn't break 80, he's going to quit. I think we all want him to break 80. I don't think anyone wants him to quit golf. I don't think he wants to
I
quit
could al-
golf.
I could already see his swing, his strong ass just stabbing at that golf.
Well, I saw a video. He was at TaylorMade's The Kingdom, and it didn't look bad. It looked, yeah. I mean, it looked like he was a football player. I mean, obviously, but I mean,
Pretty decent. I mean,
it looked deep.
Yeah.
Carson, did you see it?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't look bad. So I mean, I could definitely
maybe.
see him.
Maybe he can play.
I mean, you get some tips from Bryson DeChambeau. I think you're going to break 80 quickly. I'm sorry, but That's someone who I got picked winning a major this year. I'm not going to say which one, but he's winning a major.
You got him winning Augusta, don't you?
I would like to, but I mean, I think he gets something besides the U.S. Open. He's got 2 U.S. Open wins already. So
Where's the U.S. Open this year?
Oakmont.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. But this is going to be a good week down in a PGA National.
Wish we were there playing.
I think we all wish we were there playing. That's a
It's
beautiful
actually
course.
81 degrees there right now.
Yeah, 81 degrees. It's a little windy. I'm looking at. It's got 12-mile-an-hour wind, at least on PGAtour.com.
By the way, Austin Eckroat won it last year at 17 under, which is 3 shots above second place. You said Billy Horschel's in it? He was finished tied ninth.
Minwoo came in second last year.
Minwoo came, tied for second.
So I mean, we might see him. We might see Minwoo make a run at it. We probably could have. Might have to rethink our picks and look at last year, see, and go from there. But I'm sticking with mine for sure. Excited about it. I definitely think that there's going to be a lot of big viewership on Friday, especially if Luke Clanton's around that cut line, which Carson is hoping he's way above it. But
He's going to be above. He's going to be flirting with that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's going to get active this week.
I definitely think the viewership is going to be there.
Is this the first time someone's picked
I think this is the first time someone's picked Luke. I was going to say that I got him guaranteed making the cut and being top 10. Carson came out here out of nowhere and said he's going to be in that victory circle, that winning circle. So
Sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit. That's what I'm doing here.
no, but definitely if
Luke's going to put it together at some point in the near future, I think.
I mean, he clearly did in his college tournament. But like I was saying, if he's around that cut line, that Friday viewership is going to skyrocket, just like it did for the USA Canada hockey game last week, totaling 16.1 million viewers across North America. I definitely think a lot of people didn't know that it was going on, and this tournament in that game especially definitely created some hockey fans and some future hockey players in the world, especially in North America, seeing how proud the team was to be playing for their country and how the whole country kind of rallied behind them. I mean, if you were on any social media at all, you could see tweets, posts of people saying, I had no clue about this tournament, I had no clue about it at all, and I'm sat on my couch with a beer in my hand, locked in for this game. On both sides, whether you're a Canadian or you're an American, there were so many people watching it, and I think it was one of the biggest and most watched viewed games ever, if not biggest, period. So I definitely think
it was the most watched hockey game ever.
Yeah, so I definitely think that it created a lot of hockey fans and future players. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When you get 16 million viewers, there's definitely going to be someone who's inspired to go play hockey.
Yeah, it was a great tournament for the countries and the pride they played with. It was a shame to see the U.S. end up losing on that goal at the end and overtime, which on our soil, which was tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it opened a lot of people's eyes to hockey, one, and this nation's face-off they did for the All-Star. I believe they are going to look to do that in the future instead of the All-Star game. When you get something like that generates the most viewed hockey game ever, it's going to be hard for them to go away from it. So, but game-wise, it was an intense game in overtime. That goalie, Jordan Bennington, stood on his ass. He saved everything that came at him. We 100% had more chances in overtime, and he was able to save everything. And then, of course, it comes down to Connor McDavid, the best player in hockey, to score the final goal for Canada. So, and to see them celebrate on our soil was just humiliating.
Yeah, I definitely think it's gonna be something we're gonna be looking forward to in Milano and for the Winter Olympics here, because there are gonna be NHL players playing in it, which is gonna be exciting. So we're gonna get a rematch hopefully, and we're gonna beat Canada, and we're gonna go win.
Yeah, I already saw guys saying get ready for Milan because that's where the Olympics are. So that's where Russia will be. Russia will have a team. A couple others will have a team, but Russia will be a big team to watch out for, and obviously Canada. So hopefully we're able to get our.
I would love to see us go get gold, bring it home for the United States. Definitely excited for it. I think they need to bring this tournament back every year. I think generating 16.1 million views in the last game is massive. I think if they bring it back every year, that they're gonna see viewership almost to the same scale because there's gonna be people that know about it, and there's gonna be more fans that are gonna be watching it every year. However, I do think they need to change their overtime rules. If you're gonna have a timer, like a 20-minute period, you got to play the whole 20 minutes. We saw 7 minutes in overtime and scored one goal. If you're gonna do that, you might as well just call it sudden death and have no time at all. I think that's something that needs to change. I mean, I'm not a big hockey guy. I've never have been. But I think if you're going to have an overtime, it's either got to be a period or it's got to be sudden death. If you look at football, you got time and or you don't. The farther along you get different types of overtimes where it might go down to a sudden death. That's fine. But if you're in the first one and we're watching, put up 20 minutes, we only see 7 minutes of it. That's to me, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Personally, I didn't really like the overtime either. 20 minutes on the clock, and if they ended up tied again after that 20 minutes, then another 20 minutes would go on. I would have liked to see how they do it in the regular uh, NHL, where they just put 5 minutes on and nobody scores. They get a shootout. I think a shootout would have been absolutely dope.
Yeah, I definitely think that they should have either done that or they should have made it for the whole 20 minutes. I definitely think that's something that they might need to rethink for next year if they do it again, which I hope they do. I think everyone that watched it hopes that they do it again, but I definitely think it's going to need to be something that's going to be rethinked.
Yeah, I think either like Carson said, if you do in the NHL they do 3-on-3, which is insane because I mean it's all about possession. They fly around. So, but to your point, Franz, I think they should do if they're gonna do a whole time limit in overtime with no sudden death. I think it should be like 10 minutes, and if they tie, then go into another 10 minutes. But the long 20-minute period is a long time for overtime, so I think the intensity would just rise if you had a 10-minute
Yeah.
overtime because I think that would make them generate so many more scoring chances. So I agree with you there, and I do think the shootout would have definitely been electric. We had the better goaltender in that game and on our team, but at the end of the day, Canada played better. I mean, he saved everything that came at him. He looked terrible in
Sucks, dude.
most of the whole
I mean,
soft tournament.
in overtime, we had three great looks, and he just
Just
Yeah.
snagged every one of them, dude.
that one where he had with his glove. I mean, look what I found.
Yeah.
You gotta have some of those, dude.
You do, right? Hockey's about the bounces and all that. So
But I mean, McDavid, dude, he didn't play worth a damn all night, and then
yeah,
eventually he's gonna get himself one. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it's just unfortunate for us, but we've all said, I think the overtime needs to be a little bit different. I mean, for the 7 minutes that they played, the intensity was definitely there. I mean, and it was for 20 minutes. So I mean, the 7 minutes that
yeah.
we saw, the intensity was through the roof. They were flying around on the ice. They were shooting anything that thought they had a chance for. So definitely think that either it's the 20 minutes or the 10 minutes, like you said, Connor, that overtime would have been if it was the full 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it would be, I think it would have been a lot better than them just scoring one
Sudden
goal and
death.
then being done. Or going to what Carson said, having normal NHL and seeing that shootout. If we saw that shootout, I definitely think that might have even spiked viewership even more, just as being
I
like,
think it
oh,
would have. I really think it would have.
I feel like that would have been
Imagine
something
a
that's
shootout, dude.
yeah, like a shootout. USA versus Canada. I mean, it was already at 16.1 million views. Who knows what it could have spiked to for the shootout time? Could have been 18. Could have been 20. I mean, who knows? I definitely think it's going to be something that they could rethink, and I think it'd be just cool to see.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Going to college basketball. Duke Blue Devils still on top. I don't think there's really anything much else to say besides that they might win the whole thing if they can stay consistent, if they can keep winning the same level that they have been winning at. I don't think it's going to be close. Cooper Flag has said that he does want to return for a second year, and that I think it was a GoFundMe or something that people were raising money. I think a couple people put $25,000 themselves into it, which is absolutely wild to bring him back next year.
It'd be nice to have that laying around.
Yeah, I mean, if you got $25,000 to throw at a 18-year-old kid to come back and play for
Yeah, right.
university that you might not even have gone to, but I mean, if you're an alum, cool. But if you didn't even
Yeah,
go and you're throwing $25,000 at it, you're doing something right in your life.
Yeah,
so yeah,
it's like an NIL for players.
yeah.
that the fans can pay. And yeah, two fans have donated 25,000 and some change to get him to stay. But
Can we talk
I don't
about that
know
Illinois
if that
performance?
statement was true or not. What?
Can we talk about that Illinois performance?
Just straight domination, playing with our dinner. Battered and bruised, not a very good Illinois team. With that being said, was a neutral site, 110 points, 43 point. There's really not much to say other than straight domination, but yeah, I've seen a lot of fans and people around the community getting upset that Duke jumped Florida in the AP poll, going to number two, bumping Florida to three. A lot of people are saying we haven't played anybody. I don't think you can put us down for playing in the ACC. I mean, we don't have a choice about it, and we tried to schedule good teams, and Illinois. I mean, they got battered and bruised and hurt and stopped playing well. That's a middle of the road Big Ten team, and Big Ten or Big 12.
Illinois is
Illinois is
Big
Big
12.
Ten. Oh,
Big
they're
10.
not in the Big 12. They're not in the Big 12.
Big Ten. Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Ten.
Big Ten, middle of the pack Big Ten team, just straight. I mean, was never a close game.
No, I definitely think that the problem is you got teams that are in the SEC. I mean, you got Auburn, you got Florida, you got Bama, you got Tennessee. Those are all top five, top six teams. But the problem is you're going to have teams like Duke that are going to absolutely dominate, and they're going to be ranked high no matter what. If you're dominating what the Duke has been dominating this year, you're going to be ranked high. They have no competition this year, unfortunately. The ACC, besides Clemson, I think everyone saw that game where Clemson was able to snub them out at home, but I don't think it really matters where you're going to see Duke in March Madness, and they're going to play one of these SEC teams that everyone's raving about that are like, oh, they should be ranked higher than Duke. No, we're going to see Duke go out and we're going to see them beat them, and then everyone's going to be like, we were wrong. We were obviously wrong because
Yeah,
Duke's can put a smackdown on.
yeah.
At the end
I
of the
think
day, go ahead.
I think this is not crazy to say that this is one of the best Duke teams ever because usually they're full of freshmen and they're really young. But this year they actually dove into the transfer portal. Shire did, I think, a good job of doing. I mean, he has a junior and a fifth-year guard. That's their two guards, and then he's got three freshmen in the starting lineup. And they bring a fifth-year senior off the bench. They bring a junior and Malik Brown off the bench, and then Slim as a freshman, and Caleb Foster as a sophomore. So, but at the end of the day, like you said, playing in the ACC, it's been at the top of the level for college basketball for so many years. And over the past 3 or 4 years, as the landscape of college basketball has changed with NIL, money, funding, and all that, transfer portal, the SEC's jumped it. Even the Big 12 is probably the second best basketball conference, which at the end of the day, they tried to schedule that non-conference game thinking it would be top, competition. And Illinois is a good basketball team, but I don't think they've had the season that everyone expected. So it was a dominating performance, and to play on a neutral site, I think will benefit Duke going down the stretch because these ACC atmospheres, most of them are a joke. I mean, they're playing in Miami tonight, and even though Duke's Duke, like that
I mean,
team
Miami's
still wants
2-14. There's not going to
Yeah,
be anyone going to watch that game. At least,
the spread's probably 25.
I mean, we can look right
It's
now.
22 and a half.
22
What
and
is
a
it?
half.
22
Yeah.
and a half.
So
That's
so
that's a
like how you
conference
can't
game
blame them
too.
for scheduling that. Yeah.
The fact that it's a conference game and it's 22 and a half is 22 and a half is diabolical. The overs unders at set at 150 and a half. I don't
Yeah.
think. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where if Miami's basketball stadium is on campus, I would assume there's going to be students going out to it simply because it's Duke and they're
Yeah.
number two ranked in the country. That there's going to be people there, but like you were saying, the ACC only has three ranked teams right now, and I feel like that's not something you really see. You normally see them with 5 or 6 or 7. But I mean, if you go look at Big 12, we have four. You go look at the SEC, they have 5 or 6, whatever it is. I mean, the Big Ten has 5 themselves. So I definitely think that the ACC has not been at the level that they had been. But I think because of the transfer portal and NIL, that these older coaches that did leave at the beginning of the year left because of that. And from that, their teams have not been playing the same way. And we could see the ACC jump back to the number one conference in college basketball next year with some younger coaches, getting rid of interim coaches, getting younger coaches diving into the transfer portal, using NIL money. Because, I mean, we all know Miami has NIL money. I mean, we look at Carson Beck with his $10 million deal. There's no way Miami does not have NIL money. And I think that, I mean, we could see all these schools start diving into it a little bit more next year, especially with rev sharing coming to fruition here shortly. Another house deal's going down, I want to say in April, where the universities might be able to represent the players themselves rather than having like agents, or for at least here at West Virginia Country Roads Trust. So, I mean, we might see where people are falling in love with the university and the university is representing them and they're making them more money than they could have. So I definitely think it's going to be something that we're going to look to next year, or even come April after March Madness and the transfer portal opens, where we might see more like North Carolina making moves in the transfer portal, and they might be coming in ranked top 15 team again.
ACC-wise, I think it's going to take us a while to get back to the top because, first off, like, we don't have as much money as the other conferences do, first off. And also, as a high school recruit coming in, looking at colleges, you're really going to go where you're going to make the most money. I mean, that's no. But so the ACC isn't offering the most money. The conference isn't playing good anymore. All the coaches are leaving. Aham said he left because the NIL was a joke and he couldn't compete, which is true. In the ACC, you can't compete with the money that the other conferences have. But yeah, it's going to be good to see these new coaches come in, but I think it's going to take them a while to get any good.
I think it's all going to depend on how they hit the transfer portal and if they can. I mean, if you look at West Virginia University bringing in Darian DeFreeze last year, boosters and donors literally said when they hired him that they're opening up their pockets for him. They said, we want to see WU back in March Madness. We don't want to see a 9-24 team again. And I mean, we're 16-11 right now, so it's definitely been a turnaround. I mean, same thing when we hired Rich Rodriguez back here. They were saying the same thing, and we went into the portal. We got players. We used the NIL money. So I definitely think it depends on the type of coach you bring in and how the donors and the school and the university and all the fans view them. Because, I mean, you look at Duke, you got the random fans giving $25,000 each, and there's two of them. If you have a single fan like that from North Carolina, they're going to be top of the basketball world again shortly. But it's all going to depend on how you're going to see the donors coming in, giving the money. I mean, what they already did with Bill Belichick, they gave him whatever he wanted, basically. So, I mean, I think it depends on how you have your NIL foundation structured and how the coach views NIL and transfer portal. If they see it as a complete joke, then they're not going to be a good team in it. That's the bottom line, that with the NIL and transfer portal, that everything is pay to win now, and that's what collegiate sports is turning into. It's no longer an amateur sport where you're going to a college for 4 years. You're going wherever you're getting the most money, and if a different school offers you more money, you're leaving. So yeah, I think it just depends on that.
I don't know if you guys saw, but North Carolina hired a general manager this morning, which they have been in the talks of doing for their basketball program. They hired a former sports agent in the NBA who was an agent for Jeremy Lin, a bunch of Jason Richardson, a bunch of other guys. And I think that now that these college programs are becoming more professional based, because it's essentially pay to play. Like it's you're going to buy players nowadays. High schools like the draft, transfer portals like free agency in professional sports where you go out and you pay for players. So I think that's going to be something you see more of, because I know Duke already has a general manager for basketball, and Carolina, with their struggles this year, Hubert said multiple times he wants to hire a general manager, and they ended up just doing it. So Belichick, with him bringing in the whole professional program into the college, I think that's going to be more and more used throughout sports, and especially in basketball. But the ACC, like Carr said, they don't have the money, especially those bottom teams like Boston College, Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh. Teams like that don't have the money the SEC does. But you can still find players nowadays in college basketball anywhere. But since it's pay to play, I think it's going to take time for the ACC to get back to what it was, if it ever does, to compete with these other conferences. But I do think general manager and someone going over the NIL funding, managing that money, where to put it, what players to spend it on, is going to be throughout college sports.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at, I would say the top 50 colleges in the country that they all have an NIL foundation, whether it's inside the university or it's like more of like a consulting firm. They all have something that is used for their NIL, whether it's bringing in money, bringing players in, or figuring out who's going to get money on more scholarship money through the NIL and who's not. I mean, you're going to look at rev sharing here in 2 months, probably 3 months, and it's going to completely redistribute all the money that schools are going to be bringing in. Because, I mean, we're going to see North Carolina football bring in a lot of money this next year, and if Bill Belichick stays on his entire contract, and you're going to see that money being redistributed probably to basketball if they're not bringing the viewership and they're not bringing the athletes in. So I think rev sharing might change that for the ACC that have better football teams. Like Miami had a great football team. North Carolina State has a great football team. Virginia Tech's always decent. Pittsburgh, without their athletic director this past year, was pretty well. Wake Forest is a little bit of a different chance, but I mean, even SMU, they're going to have a better football team. And with rev sharing, we might see these schools that have a lot of money from football being transferred to basketball because they want to be the best at every sport. I think every team, every school wants to be the best at every sport. If you look at the SEC, that's exactly what they're doing. No matter what, I mean, just because they have the most money right now, they're already getting the best athletes for every sport, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, softball, whatever it may be, rowing, it doesn't matter. That they want to be the best of the best for every sport. And I think with rev sharing and the schools that have a good football program, we might see that happen in the next 3 or 4 years.
I think if you want to be a good basketball team that can contend in March Madness, you're going to have a GM moving forward, and you're going to have good roster construction. Duke was the first to get a GM, and I wasn't really sure how to feel about it at first, but after seeing what we got from the portal and who we brought in, I was all for it. And if you're not going to have roster construction in college basketball, you're not going to do very well. And I think for the ACC, having GMs and good roster construction is very important because these coaching staffs really can do it all. And if you're going to have a GM just to give extra insight and all that stuff, I think it would be very good.
I think the universities, like you said, either it needs to be a GM or it needs to be an agent that's either out of the professional world already or is looking to focus on one university and do it for all sports rather than just doing one. I definitely think that could be the future of whether it's the GM or it's an agent or an attorney, whatever it may be. I definitely think that's going to be the future. Even WU, we recently hired an attorney who's the second-hand guy to Red Baker, our AD, who's looking at all of our coaches' contracts. So, I mean, I could definitely see him in April, if he's still around, which I'd assume he would be. He's going to be looking at all the player contracts for every sport. It doesn't matter what sport it's going to be. He's going to be looking at everything because rev sharing is going to change everything. The whole college world is going to be changing. It already changed back in September. It was changing every week. So, I mean, we could definitely see that happening.
Yeah, the whole general manager and someone managing the funds is so important nowadays in college sports. Like you said, a sports agent, Carolina, and what they did. You can't leave it all for Hubert and the rest of the coaching staff to put together a roster, learn how to spend the money, because obviously that hasn't worked out. So, I mean, there's multiple teams with scenarios where they've put together, they've spent money. Like Baylor spent a lot of money this offseason. They brought in Jeremy Roach from Duke, Norchad Omier from Miami. They have a top 5, top 10 NBA draft pick, but they haven't won the games that they're supposed to. And, a lot of that's due to their roster construction. So I think we'll see general managers more and more, especially with Duke and Carolina now at the top of the ACC, the two blue bloods that hired general managers. I think we'll see the teams trickle down and start to do that.
Yeah, I definitely. I
I
definitely see that expanding to other sports as well, like to baseball. Baseball's been pretty big recently. I mean, you look at Tennessee. Tennessee's been at the top, but I mean, I feel like their coaches do a little bit of a better job than most teams in the country. I mean, SEC's at the top every year. It feels like whether it's Tennessee, Vanderbilt when we were growing up 5-6 years ago, LSU recently with Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz. I definitely see it's going to be something that might expand to other sports, whether it is a general manager or if it's just like an advisor that's going to be reviewing, watching film, being like, all right, I want to bring this guy in. I mean, I know that WU recently brought back, I can't remember his name right now, but we brought someone who's literally just an advisor for baseball. He's special hand assistant to Coach Saban's, and he looks at all of our athletes and says, we might want to bring this guy in, we might want to let this guy go, looking at high school recruits. And, I mean, Saban's is in his first year as a head coach, and we're 7-0.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that it's going to be something that expands to other sports if they need it. But I mean, we might see these SEC schools that are top notch, like LSU, like Texas A&M, like Texas, Arkansas, whatever it may be, that they're not going to go the GM route, the agent route, the attorney route, because it doesn't matter. They know that their coaches are going to do a great job, and they're going to bring in some of the best players every year. So I definitely think that's going to be something that we might be looking forward to in the next year or so. Going to GMs, some schools not. I think it's going to be something to look out for. But looking at baseball, we got LSU, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Arkansas, Georgia, Florida. That's 4 teams from the SEC in the top 10 starting out. I definitely think it's going to be something that we're going to be on watch for come regionals and supers, that it might be an SEC dominated World Series.
Yeah, I think that's very possible.
They have a couple of teams up there, Arkansas or North Carolina, Florida State, Virginia, Wake Forest. But like you said, SEC top to bottom's dominant again in basketball and baseball now. And I'd like to see the Blue Devils turn this little. They've been losing some games, so I'd like to see them turn it around. They take on the Humps of Campbell tonight down there in Boobies Creek. So in a little
David,
bit.
they got 2 upsets already, David.
Yeah. I want to say they were getting no hit by Cornell for most of the game, and then I think they ended up getting a couple of hits, but
We're going to turn it around.
Yeah, they were ranked coming into the season. You guys are 4-3 right now. Carson, have you been watching any of these Duke baseball games? How are you feeling? What do you think needs to happen? How are you feeling?
I haven't watched any of the games. I just know we've been upset twice, and one of them wasn't a very attractive number. I want to say 10-0 or something.
Connor, you been watching any of those games?
I've seen a couple of them. I've kind of been keeping track of Tyler Albright and seeing how he's been doing. But I have watched some Auburn. I saw them against Wright State was just and then who was the first?
Holy Cross.
Holy Cross, that's right, yeah. So I've been watching them. That ballpark's really nice, by the way.
Shout out to our guy getting his first homer in an Auburn Tiger jersey.
Oh,
yeah. Bristol Carter. Little round of applause for him. They got a game today. I'm trying to see who they're playing.
That was an absolute shot.
Yeah, that was a shot. And I've seen some of them. I know North Carolina's really good. They're 7-0. The BDCU this past weekend, State's been struggling. They're 3-4. They dropped out of their rankings. But
yeah, we got Auburn's playing Samford tonight. Like you were, so I mean, Auburn wasn't ranked coming into the season. Now they might have been ranked. Now they're 25. So I mean, that might be another SEC team that we're looking out for a little bit down the road in regionals and supers. But
we all know how baseball is. I mean,
yeah,
there can be upsets pretty easily. So we'll see how the season goes on, and once we get into conference play, we'll see all these teams and see if they lose or keep dominating.
Yeah, I mean, we're all baseball people here. We all grew up playing. So I mean, we're gonna see these SEC schools get into conference play, and we might see a lot of series that are just split down the middle, and they might get lucky if there's a 3-game series on a Sunday, getting lucky and getting the win. But I definitely think it's going to be fun to watch come conference time. But it's going to be something we're going to be dealing with.
How about your Mountaineers, Franz? You been watching them?
7-0. We got a game tomorrow. Got rescheduled from today. Playing Ohio, first home game. I would say be on the lookout for Mountaineers making a run.
Mountaineers, yeah. Them boys been playing well.
Yeah.
You been to any games?
No, we haven't had a home game yet.
Oh, really? This is your first home game?
First home game is tomorrow. You got a game at Jacksonville. We're in Jacksonville for the opening series, and then we were at Lipscomb this past weekend. So definitely gonna be excited to have the first home game.
Yeah, and
The
I know.
Shots went down to Jacksonville. We dropped one to Alabama, but ended up beating Ohio State and
The Shots did. They beat Ohio
one more
State.
team.
Yeah,
Ohio
Chanticleers.
State and one more team. I forget, but they.
Should we be looking out for Coastal Carolina, West Virginia, and Omaha still, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, sure thing. It's all about getting hot at the right time. Really finding that back end of that bullpen, especially deep into the season. It's all really just going to end up on what regional you get in, because if you have a favorable regional matchup, you take that on, and then you head to the supers, and anything can happen in a super, and then you get your chance in the World Series. So I think so. Definitely in the regionals.
That's gonna be something we're gonna be excited for. West Virginia has recently not had the best regional luck. I mean, Big 12 champions for past 2 years, but then going into the Big 12 tournament and just not playing the way that they should be, losing, and then going into regionals, either winning or just getting smoked. I think we've been in Kentucky the past 2 years, so I mean that's just unfortunate. How is Coastal looking in regionals the past couple of years?
I think we hosted last year.
Yeah, I think that's
And
right.
Duke beat us, which was a great squad last year. So they got hot at the right time. Of course, we won it about a decade ago.
Yeah, that is about a decade ago now.
Yeah, it's crazy to say.
It feels like it was a couple of years ago maximum. But how do you feel about your Duke Blue Devils coming into your home turf of Coastal Carolina and beating you last year?
It's really no mixed. It's kind of mixed feelings, mixed emotions. I'm a Blue Devil at heart. I'm Brotherhood at heart. So I just go to school here. That doesn't mean I don't root for the teams, but yeah, I'm a Blue Devil at heart. So
Weren't you
yeah.
at that game?
No, I was at
You
the
were?
game when we played Wake and beat them. That
Okay.
was pretty dope. That's when they were ranked number one.
That's another team
Wake
that
was?
I think we've mentioned that before. That Wake's just a program that's going to be a force to be reckoned with, no matter what. Especially with their
Yeah.
pitching lab. That I would like to see them back in the College World Series. I mean, be great to see North Carolina team out there. But I think I'd love to see the Mountaineers out there before I would love to see Wake or anyone else out there first.
Did you
I
guys
think it's
see
going to be a
Alabama
lot
was
like
down?
last year.
Alabama was down 10-0 to Ohio State. Came back and won in the bottom ninth.
Yeah, I saw something that they posted a
They walked it
picture.
off.
They posted a picture about it afterwards, and
You don't see that every day.
they posted a picture about it. And they had to. Well, the player came out and apologized for it because he said that's not the way that they were brought up. That's not the type of team that they are. So he apologized as a
Oh,
whole university to Ohio State, which I feel like is a great show of sportsmanship. Whether it's something that should have happened in the first place or just guys being guys
Yeah.
after a baseball game. Apparently, there was an Instagram post or a post on social media from the players in their locker room after the win and just being a little bit disrespectful to Ohio State. And the player came out a little bit later and sincerely apologized as a team, as a person, and as a whole university to Ohio State and to their baseball team.
I mean, if you're going to give up a 10-run lead in the bottom of the ninth, I mean, you kind of deserve a little bit of that. Let's not be soft here.
it's the truth.
No,
Well, it all happened in the
I have
bottom
no
ninth.
idea what the post was, so
Yeah, I don't know the full details to it, but I definitely think that if it was a little bit of offensive, that I would understand it. But if it was just like a normal post that's like coming down 10-0 and winning them, walking them off, that I feel like that's going to be a post that's going to have to be accepted. But if it was offensive, that's a little bit of a
Yeah.
different story.
Yeah.
You definitely don't see MLB guys going out and doing that. That's for sure. You might see the teams doing it, posting on social media like walk off win or after being down 10-0, but you're not seeing that from the players themselves.
No.
I definitely think it's going to be a good baseball season. It's already started out to be good. I would like to see a redo of the college rankings though. Come Monday, I'm expecting to see a top 20. And if I don't,
yeah.
I'm
Got,
gonna.
got an update here on the Chants down in Jacksonville. Lost to Alabama, beat Ohio State, beat State. Got UNCW coming up tonight.
Is that like
So
a in-season tournament? What's going on down there for you guys to be in
yeah, it's kind of
Jacksonville?
like a tournament type thing.
Like a round robin.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like we've seen a lot of that recently where it's not really a tournament. It's just playing more at like a neutral site, whether it is an MLB stadium or it is, I don't know where they're playing down in Jacksonville. Do you know, Carson? Is it just like a random stadium down there?
It might be at
Financial
Jacksonville
ballpark.
University,
That's where
Financial.
WVU.
but I do know State is 3-4, so I believe they lost to, I want to say both Ohio State and Coastal Carolina. Is that game in Conway or is it in Wilmington tonight?
It's in Conway. It's at
You
Brooks
gonna make the
Stadium.
trip out there?
I actually have an intramural basketball game tonight at 6 o'clock.
Okay, well that can be discussed next week on the podcast
Yeah, we'll be
for sure.
discussing that.
We're 1-1 right now. I had a rough week 1, but bounced back in week 2. So looking to keep the train rolling here in week 3.
That financial ballpark is for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, which is play. I don't know for what team.
That's
but
actually the
or is that Double
I
A?
believe that's the Marlins. I believe the Grasshoppers used to feed into that actually, the jumbo shrimp.
So I mean that is cool for them to be playing in those in a Triple A stadium or Double A, whatever it may be. I can't remember
Yeah.
right now, but I think it's cool. Like we mentioned last week, that to see these universities playing in whether it's Double A, Triple A, or MLB ballparks, that it is cool because that is the level that they want to be at some point in their life. I know Auburn's going out and playing Oregon State at I want to say Globe Life here in a couple of weeks, so that's going to be cool to watch.
That's
That'd be cool.
Definitely looking out for a guy Bristol Carter out there. I'm excited. I mean, I'm hoping we can see a lot more of that. I think it's cool that these college guys are playing in these stadiums while spring training's going on, just to get that experience out there.
I think it's great.
I think it's something that's going to continue for a while, especially with spring training that the teams aren't in their home ballparks. But
Global Life is one of the nicer MLB. Is it the newest?
it
It
might be
might
the
be.
newest.
Be the newest, but it's one of the nicer MLB parks. Although it's indoors, not a big fan of indoor MLB or NFL stadiums, but that one is really nice.
I think they have a
And
retractable roof, so it could
I
be
believe it
either or.
is. They were in the world they won the World Series not this year but last year, so or 2 years ago. So that was good to see that atmosphere. But I got a question. So I was talking with a buddy. Best sports atmosphere in a game seven. Hockey, basketball, or baseball. So if you take World Series, Stanley Cup, or NBA championship, what would you guys say there? If you could
Af-
pick one to go to.
Carson, you can go first here.
If I had to pick one to go to,
Yeah. And for your sake, it's the Braves in that World Series.
Yeah, it's the Braves, it's the Hurricanes, it's the Hornets. You get floor seats at the Hornets, you get ice level Hurricanes, and you get right there for behind home plate for Braves in the chop. What are you picking?
I'm going with the Hurricanes there. I've always wanted to go to a Hurricanes hockey game. Their games get legit, they get intense, they get rowdy. So I would love to be a part of a game 7 in there. Um, Damn it, I'd be begging on that board. I think that hockey is definitely my pick there.
I'm gonna have to go baseball. Yankees guy. I would kill for home plate seats in Game 7. It doesn't matter who it's against. I would kill for them.
Yeah,
Like we mentioned last week, I feel like the NBA has recently been falling off. But I mean, it's Game 7 for any sport is going to be one of the more watched games of the entire season, if not for a couple of years. Like, so I would definitely say Game 7. My three choices. I'm choosing Yankee game, choosing baseball, 100%. What are you choosing
yeah.
there?
I chose hockey as well. Baseball was a really close second because a game seven in a World Series, that's hard to beat, but hockey playoffs, there's truthfully nothing like it. And yeah, the Canes, the loudest house in the league. So that would be electric. But I was having the debate with a buddy, and he said there ain't nothing like a college football atmosphere. And I can't really speak on that because I've never really been to like an SEC game or any of that. So, but I told him, I said I'll take a game seven in hockey on the ice over basically any other sporting event. Because I mean, the anticipation, the hitting, how fast they're flying around, like that's hard to beat. But MLB too, it's pitch to pitch, it's just electric. So I'd definitely choose hockey, but MLB's a close second.
I don't think NBA ever crossed my mind in there.
Yeah,
I think
No.
I'd rather watch an NBA game on the couch.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, March Madness though, that's like going
Oh,
to the
that'd be
Final Four or something. Being down there would be pretty cool.
We're not. I don't think we're including like college sports in this
Yeah,
conversation
yeah.
because if we're talking college sports, I'm gonna have to change my answer.
Okay, what would you football or
I would. Yeah. No. I think that I would, if it's Mountaineers college, I'm going. I'm going basketball.
I'm going
Coliseum?
basketball for sure.
I'm going to
Yeah,
that Coliseum and I'm getting down there because it's gonna be rowdy. It's gonna be a sold out crowd.
yeah.
If
Oh,
we're
if
going,
you were giving me courtside tickets at Cameron, oh,
Yeah, but
that's an
look at
easy
it this
choice.
way though. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna say courtside, Duke, Carolina, and Cameron, but like March Madness, the neutral sites though. So like, just
That's
put it
fine. I'm sticking with
Final Four.
basketball.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
March Madness.
I still think that for college, it kind of just depends on what your team's best sport, your school's best sport, and you're going to choose that because that atmosphere is going to be electric no matter what.
Yeah,
If I feel like if you go to Tennessee, you have to choose baseball.
yeah.
Just because their new
Get all right.
renovations to their stadium, I think it's going to be that'd be something you have to choose baseball for because we've seen baseball their walk offs a couple years ago when they were playing Wright State with that home run. Everyone saw the crowd there. Everyone saw the panorama video
Yeah,
of him running around the bases. I think so. There's no doubt in my mind if I'm a Tennessee guy, I'd be choosing baseball just because of that. So,
yeah.
but
But
football,
interesting topic to argue about.
yeah, I think it depends on if you're going pro sports or if you're going college.
Yeah,
Basketball never crossed my mind for professional, but it was the first thing I thought of in college. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah, basketball, but hockey, playoff hockey would be electric to go to a game on the ice.
yeah, I feel like like we were mentioning earlier that Four Nations game. 16.1 million views.
Yeah,
I heard tickets were like $2,300 a piece for just a regular ticket just to get in. So I definitely think that if it's gonna be a Stanley Cup Game 7 like that, it might be the best atmosphere in sports. But
the
I think it's
hottest
just
house in the league is what they call it, the Canes.
I want to make it to a game at some point.
You ought to come down to. You ought to.
All right.
I don't
yeah,
think we'll be able to get into a game, but we can go somewhere else to watch it.
yeah. I think you'd have to at that point. I don't think you're getting into a Hurricanes game for less than a few $100 pretty easily.
And the other thing
Money
is
ain't
in
great.
Raleigh,
Money ain't great.
yeah, and the other thing is in Raleigh, you got NC State, the Hurricanes. There's no professional team besides that, and Charlotte, obviously, you got the Panthers and the Hornets. I ain't gonna speak about your Panthers, but your Hornets are Hornets haven't been relevant for years. Um, the Canes, I believe they're second in the Stanley Cup odds.
Keep my Hornets and Panthers out that mouse, son.
I like what
Yeah.
I saw from Bryce Young. I like the improvements the Panthers made last year. And Hornets wise, still got a long way to go there, but also like the young pieces. But the
I
Canes,
tell you, yes, three-peat's still possible in football, so just keep your eye on that in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely still possible, but I definitely think that you two boys we patched in for this Duke Miami game tonight, 7 o'clock. I'm gonna be patched for the West Virginia TCU game at 9 o'clock. Gonna be
at home.
watching at home. Yeah, it's gonna be a late game though. It's unfortunate. So I don't know how the student crowd's gonna be. Got classes tomorrow. Classes get canceled tomorrow. There's gonna be tons of people at that Coliseum without a doubt. Definitely patched for the WU versus Ohio home opener tomorrow. So excited for that. Only looking forward to this week of sports. But until then, we will catch you next week. Episode 5. Done.